Right, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm with none other Dr. Nigel Chanakira. Doc, how are you?
Very well, George.
How are you keeping, Doc?
Very, very well.
Doc, you know, one thing about me, I've seen you over the years, and you're one person who's really inspired me over the years to become, somebody who chases their goals. And, one of the people who inspired me, I was actually talking on a video earlier on this morning, that if it wasn't for you, Strive Masiwa, and all these other entrepreneurs who began their journey, I would have never been inspired to start my own journey. So, you're somebody who really has impacted me so much. I used to attend a lot of your speaking engagements and how you sold your house, how you moved back to Highfield, and, how you just started an amazing empire at a young age. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliments.
Right. Doc, a lot of entrepreneurs fail because they don't have proper mentorship. And I understand you've been doing what's called SMI, which is a platform and a program which helps to empower and educate a lot of entrepreneurs not to fail, but to succeed, knowing exactly what they need to do. Could you kindly highlight exactly what SMI is about?
Okay, Success Motivation International is actually a global franchise in the leadership development field. It's actually the preeminent organization globally in terms of facilitating the success of individuals and then also organizations. And so from that perspective, SMI globally researches the most successful people that they are. And then they condense their research findings on their attributes into what we call dynamite in a package. For example, the program that I would love you to be on is called Building Financial Success. And we call it dynamite in a package simply because it is well-researched material that is then condensed into the attributes and characteristics that are possessed by those successful individuals. And so the material and the process is very unique and different. This is what makes SMI and LMI and FMI, three organizations, very distinct in the world. In the sense that the material is, for reading. It's also available on audio. And then there are also practical lessons in terms of that application of the knowledge that you would have gained. For me, it was life-changing. I'm a junkie for learning, George. Always have been. I've been to Harvard, I've been to Oxford. I'm a UZ product, but I've loved to always invest in myself. And I have developed very simple tastes. I like what works, and I like what is global. And so SMI struck me as incomparable in the sense that the practical application of what is taught and facilitated is something you can then begin to apply. So some 25 odd years ago, I embarked on the journey where I bought a program, and the rest of my life is just history. It just gave me the cutting edge in life, the unfair advantage. And I was so enamored that I bought the franchise because I just thought, well, I can't have it to myself. I put my kids through it, I put my company through it, and then I thought, well, can I put as many Africans as I possibly can through it? And that began the journey. So I've owned the franchise in partnership with some guys for the past 20 years. And in the process, literally developed thousands of Africans, and that's my focus. The African market.
This is what
the effective personal leadership program. That's dynamite. That will transform your life. Gives you personal attributes, allows you to follow your passions and develop yourself. So we've got over maybe, I would say, 40 programs, and we pick up kids from a very young age. Growing up is fun, achieving academic success, the makings of a champion. So we've got a suite of products for young people.
Yeah.
Then we've got products for parenting, successful parenting.
Oh wow. It's not only business.
Oh no.
Oh.
It's family.
Wow.
Because a successful person's got to be a well-rounded person.
True.
And so, yeah. Then we go on to SMI itself, which focuses on largely the individual entrepreneur. And we've got programs like our Stellar package called the Dynamics of Successful Management. That's the one that I actually started on and with. And I use that quite extensively for myself and then my businesses.
Wow.
Then, of course, there's LMI, which deals with leadership issues for organizations. Fairly detailed programs. Maybe sales, developing your sales team. What's business like without selling?
Yeah, true that. True that. Yeah. Wow. Doc, a lot of people may ask. Mentorship is very misunderstood. And why would somebody want to be a part of SMI? What can you say definitely an entrepreneur, not only in Zimbabwe, in Africa, or around the world, will benefit directly? One of the unfortunate things of our generation, and even for myself, when I began business, I thought I could do it by myself. I thought I was Superman, I can download an audio and I think I know it all. What can you say is the most important take-homes that SMI will definitely give you to empower you to become a successful entrepreneur?
Okay, so number one, as I said before, this is material of globally successful individuals and organizations along with families.
Yeah.
So why, go through it when you can pay the fees and then learn in a condensed fashion the global best practices to become successful and significant.
True.
I mean, you can't afford not to pay for it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who say, Nigel, it's expensive. I ask the question, what would you not pay to avoid the blunders that you then go through on your own?
Wow.
So that's the first thing. The second thing really is that you've got to appreciate then that you are going through what you didn't get at school, which is the practical application of wisdom within your life and within your business.
Wow.
Now, successful people are phenomenal goal setters and goal getters. I mean, what more? That whole goal setting, goal getting mechanism is what SMI gives you. So it gives you the unfair advantage.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then the material is also multi-sensory learning. So you're learning through reading, you're learning through listening, the audio.
Yeah.
You're learning through writing your own, life. And you're taking what is theory and applying it in your own life. I'll give you the example, George. I went to Harvard for my studies and business leadership development.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Harvard is a great university. But for a Zimbabwean sitting in Boston, what relevance is that theory to being applied in Zimbabwe, which is a difficult turf?
Yeah, true.
What I can differentiate between an SMI program and a Harvard program is the practical application of those nuggets in my own life as Nigel and in my own business as the Nigel Chanakira Academy, for example, one of my businesses. So I'm taking from SMI the nuggets and practically applying them. And what's more, I've got a personal mentor to take me through the journey.
Oh, wow.
And the mentor is not just any mentor. This is a mentor who has gone through. We don't just hire, sales associates and distributors who don't know. But we want facilitators who've walked the journey. So I've been to hell and back. And so my lessons in terms of advising you would take you, I hope, further than I've gone.
Oh, wow.
And I've run a London listed, group. And a Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed group.
True.
And so that the ups and downs with the theory can then be applied in your own life in a very reasonable way.
Wow. I'm somebody who, Doc, I think you've been on my case for a long time, and I've been somebody who's been, putting it off and putting it off. But, I think it's so important because I believe, like what the younger generation lacks, they don't want to learn from those who've gone before them. A lot of people may just think it's a lot of content, but the greatest thing, like you're saying, is the mentorship that it will come with. The lessons, the things that you will tell me to do, not to do. Especially, I want to have an internationally known company, and because you've gone there, no book can help me, other than you who's actually gone to London, to New York, and experienced all of this. So because of that, Doc, I think a lot of people out there, you need to honestly look and search for SMI and see what it does. And Dr. Nigel, where can people find SMI?
Well, first and foremost, my number. I like to think I'm the most accessible success facilitator in Zim.
Yeah, true that.
One of the things I grew up with was I dreamt of a mentor, but I didn't have access to one until I came across Paul J. Meyer.
Oh, wow.
A globally, phenomenally successful individual who could make time for a boy from Highfields.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm there, personally to mentor people.
Yeah.
And so my number is 077 222 3777.
Wow.
For those who are based in the diaspora, +263 77 222 3777. And so people can WhatsApp me directly, and we get to discuss their story, and I can help facilitate them, or within my faculty, there would be somebody somewhere better suited, to be able to facilitate them.
Wow. And before we go, Doc, I know this is just from nowhere. A lot of people would want to know your top 5 success principles. You've been in business from a very young age, nearly 25 years gone. And what are the top 5 things that you can say have helped you become a successful entrepreneur, and things that you'd want some entrepreneur out there just to take home to say, wow?
Okay, so number 1, I'm a Christian, so I believe very much in extracting from the Word of God, biblically based business principles. So every day I mine the Bible. I do my daily Bible reading.
I actually see you every morning. You tweet a verse. And this is very early in the morning.
Yes.
I see that. That's true.
So for me, I've counted over 2,500 scriptures related to doing business. I've also established that 2/3 of the parables that Jesus Christ spoke about were actually market-based parables.
Wow.
Okay, so that's number 1. So number 2, I've learned that I don't need to make all the discoveries myself. Let me learn from those that have gone before me. And so I get a mentor. I've always had a mentor, and I look for the best mentor possible, either explicitly or implicitly. Some mentor me indirectly and track, and then some I've had the privilege to actually sit on a one-on-one basis, sit within their homes, and be able to extract nuggets from them.
Wow.
And mentors, some think are hard to get, but if you search for the one that you really want, normally God makes it happen.
True that.
Okay?
Wow.
Number 3 is I invest in myself. I think that's the best thing that I've ever done. And I track my journey in business through Empretech. That was my first journey. I remember my bank at the time, Barclays Bank, or rather it was my dad's bank. They had how to start a business as a program for their clients. And my dad, in his wisdom, took me along, and I was able to then, know how to start my business.
Oh, wow.
And so that's the third thing. The fourth thing I would say is, an avid focus on the scorecard of what success means as an entrepreneur. And that's, your finances. And so if you're going to be a businessman, I guess that's why, I went into banking. Making money makes sense. The scorecard is always how well you're doing. How do you then manage your finances? How do you, earn your money? How do you save your money? How do you invest it? I think that's important for anyone in business to know.
True.
And whether it's, attending a course, understanding financial statements, it's a must.
Yeah, true.
And unfortunately, they don't teach it at school, George. It's not something, budgeting is not taught at school. And so I guess I learned early and then took a love to understanding my finances.
Right.
And then the final fifth lesson that I would recommend is developing your relationships. Business is at the end of the day about your relationships.
That's true. That's deep.
Your network determines your net worth. The capacity that you have to actually, meet, integrate. I mean, you coming through to me like this opens up relationships that I never had by you conducting an interview and then sending it within your network, which I couldn't access personally.
True.
So on that note, I think those would be my top 5 just off the top of my head.
Oh, wow. Doc, I think to a lot of people probably watching this, you've definitely learned a lesson or two. And Doc, there's so many young people. I'm really trying to get as much as possible for somebody to come out with something on this. What would you say to an entrepreneur who is starting? What would you tell them? You started a bank at a young age. What would you say as a word of encouragement to somebody who, especially in Zimbabwe, when in an economy which is very tight, a lot of people have lost their jobs due to COVID, people are trying to think, what do I do? What can you say to somebody who's out there who wants to begin the journey of entrepreneurship, just to encourage them so that,
George, I would say, to anyone, look for that one thing that you would love to do for the rest of your life. Study it assiduously. Get to know everything that you possibly can know about that business. Whatever that area of passion is, research. I researched the bank, in order to understand what banking was all about. And I learned everything there was to learn about how to start a bank and how to manage a bank and how to sell a bank. Okay? And so it's the same thing. If you are into air conditioning, I take it that you studied, that market, you studied the products, you studied, the competition, and then carved out your own niche.
True.
I think that's the essence of entrepreneurship. That one thing. What is that one thing that you would love to do for the rest of your life, even if you weren't paid for it, and you do it simply because you love it?
Wow.
And I love money so much so that even though I am no longer in banking, I am still a top financial advisor.
Wow.
I am still a banking consultant. I am still developing software for banking.
Wow.
My latest is the development of, Cash Flow Optimizer as an app, which we are now taking global. Why? It speaks to my passion of understanding money. When we talk about, my favorite program in terms of facilitation, what is it? Building financial success. Why? Because that's my passion. Money is my passion. How to, make it, how to save it, how to, earn it. And so in that regard, that's my passion. And then beyond that passion, I then learned that, a lot of people, just as a banker of over 20 years, I saw people struggling, with leading themselves before they could lead others and lead their companies. So that's why I engaged in SMI. That's why I facilitate success. That's why I coach and mentor. It's all going back to the core of who I am. And I get paid for what I love to do.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. So anybody, anywhere in the world should really look for their own area. And I don't care what the circumstances are, George.
True.
I don't care who's in power. If I'm an entrepreneur, I'm going to make a way and I'm going to make it to the top.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
And drop me anywhere in the world. And I've lived in London, I've lived in Cape Town, Joburg, Gabs, Hawaii. I will make it. Why? Because the same core principles of who I am will manifest.
Wow.
And so once a coach, always a coach. Once a banker, always a banker.
Wow.
So find your own passion and get to the tippy top.
Wow. Guys, that was amazing. Focus. Follow one course until success. Those were the last words from Dr. Nigel Chanakira. Doc, thank you so much. And I believe that definitely I'm going to keep you guys posted. You're going to see me on this amazing course with an amazing mentor, Dr. Nigel Chanakira. And we're going to be, synergizing. I also run a mentorship program, and he has an amazing, unique mentorship program. So we're going to be doing quite a lot of things together to help empower the young generation and those who are in business so that they can become bigger and greater and really fulfill the purpose that God mandated them to be whilst they were on this planet. Doc, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure too. Thanks, George.
Awesome.